there, this is Katherine Cartwright. Welcome in. I am sharing a kit that I got from Annie's Card Kit. This is, I think it's also Annie's Clubs, but I get these from HSN. And this month was a card kit. I have gotten an assortment of different things from them. They do all kind of crafts. I've gotten a wreath before, I've gotten a journal, but this one was cards, so I knew I wanted to make a video. I'm just quickly showing you the items that were included in this kit. You get 4 different stencils. There's a stamp set as well. You get some inks, some stickers. Look at those adorable stamps. Very cute. I'm just going to open that up. I wanted to see a little closer about the rainbow, and there's several separate stamps. There are those ink cubes I mentioned. Here's some stickers. You got envelopes as well. And then there's some patterned paper in different patterns. And I'm going to trim those down in a few minutes. So I'm going to make a bunch of cards with this. I'll put it to music, but I'm going to talk for a little bit longer, and then I'll put on some music and you can watch the cards come to life. They include also these punch outs. They're not chipboard, but they're definitely card stock. So they're nice and thick and firm, and you get 2 pages of each. There's also a piece of white cardstock and a piece of purple cardstock. They give you some sponge daubers for those ink pads, some twine, and then there's a sparkle pen in there too. And I forgot to use it. That's no surprise because my craft room is a mess. So I put it to the side and then I forgot to use it, but it's so pretty. You'll see here, I'm going to show you. I had to get it started. It's got the push on each side to get it going. It's got a nice sparkle sheen to it. So great for the rainbows. I ended up using my Stickles glitter glue, which is my go-to product. So there was nothing wrong with it. I just forgot to use it. So this kit's called Pocket Full of Rainbows. So I'm going to add just a little bit more product to this. You'll need glue if you got this kit by chance. I don't know if this is available for sale directly from them or if you have to be a part of a program. But again, I just wanted to show you some creative inspiration if you did get this kit. Maybe you're part of the Autoship from HSN. That is how I get it. And again, I've been doing this probably over a year. I've probably been getting their Autoships. My daughter and I have enjoyed working with them. I am going to begin by using some of these stencils. I'm going to stencil directly onto a couple of the card fronts. This is a quick and easy way to use your stencils. And then you have the background already done. I like to do this often. You can also trim down paper and put it on top if you want to. But I wanted to show you these stencils. They're very nice. And then I'm going to use those sponge daubers that they included to ink this up. It'll be a little bit hard to see because this is a tone on tone, the purple onto the purple. You could also use any kind of texture paste or anything you have with these stencils. I think they would accept any of those products quite well. So I'm just going to stencil the back of this with these little raindrops to add a little bit of interest to my card. I'm just going to use a little bit of my mint tape here to hold it down so my fingers aren't getting all into the ink. Although I usually have pretty inky fingers, even though I try. I'm a bit of a messy one indeed in the craft room. So there's that first one. And then I'm going to switch to a white cardstock for this beautiful cloud stencil. And I'm going to use the blue. Now I'm going to add a little bit of interest in terms of I'm not making all of the clouds uniform, the exact same color with the same pressure. So you can see I've got a couple of clouds that are a little bit darker. I'm kind of fading out some of the sides. So this is a way to get a little bit of interest in the background without having to use more than one color. If you're using a sponge dauber like this or a brush, that's just an easy way you can kind of fade it out because it doesn't have to be all uniform if you don't want it to. It just adds a little bit of interest to your project. So I'm going to finish up these clouds and then I will peel that off to reveal the final background. And I think this ended up being my favorite one. I just love those clouds in the background, but you can see how easy that is to use. I'm going to tape down the sun in the middle. Now it's open in the middle, it doesn't meet, so that's why I needed to tape down a little bit of those edges. They were popping up a little bit. But I am going to cover that with my rainbow. So you'll see when I finish, it looks a little off. But again, I'm going to use one of those rainbow cutouts to cover this. I'm just taping down that center again so it doesn't pop up. And then I'm kind of doing that same thing. I've got a little darker in the center. And then I'm going to just gently fade out the ink on the side. I'm pretty much using the ink that is on the stencil, like on the edges, and just adding a little bit more onto my sponge dauber as I pull that out to the side. But just a quick, easy way to add a little bit of depth and interest to your stencils using just one color. All right, and there you can see it's a little off in the middle, but again, that will be covered. Okay, I'm going to move on to quickly trimming down some of this patterned paper. I am going to trim it to 4 inches by 5 1/4. So this is just a 1/4 inch smaller than the A2 size cards that I'm doing in the US. A2 is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm just going a little bit smaller for my layering pieces. And you'll see I have a fair amount of paper left over. I only cut 1 or 2 from each one, and I probably could get a third piece out of there. You can also cut this into strips. So I'm just making the most of what I have. And the paper is very pretty in person. So I'm going to finish this last piece here, and then I can start putting some cards together. So I'm going to assemble this first one, and then again, like I said, I'm going to turn on some music for the remainder of these cards. I think I ended up making 14 cards out of this kit. Now they gave me card bases of 8. So I did add, they had the card bases, but then the purple piece I cut in half. So I got 2 from there. They gave me an additional white piece of cardstock. So I got 2 more from there. So that's 12. So I just needed to add 1 more piece of cardstock, of white cardstock. I cut that in half and created 2 more card bases. So that got me to my 14. I used most of the stuff in the kit. I did have a few pieces left over, mostly little hearts and things. I didn't use the thanks words that were in there, but I'm planning to use those as well at some point. So I used most of it to create these cards. All right, so I'm adding some glue to the back of this piece of purple patterned paper, and I'm going to run my twine around there. It's some nice thick twine, and I'm just going to kind of tighten that up. I will pop up some foam on the back of this to get that piece off, since that twine is pretty thick. I want it to sit off the card a little bit and not be too smushed. So I'm going to trim off these edge pieces. And then off camera, I added the foam, so you don't have to see me take 15 pieces of foam down. And then I'm going to add that to my card base. I'm going to pop out this rainbow. So some of the rainbows are solid together like this, and then some of the others peel apart. You'll see that a little later in the video. There's some clouds, and then these cute suns, and just lots of little hearts. There's some raindrops as well. So a lot of fun little added pieces on here that are all included in the kit. I'm going to use this first one in the pamphlet for reference. So they give you probably 6 ideas, I bet. I just used that first one. The rest of them, I just kind of put them together myself pretty much. But I did want to show you how I created this first one. Use that cute little sweet face on there, and then I'm going to stamp another one of the stamps. It's a sentiment. I'm trimming this down a little bit. I think the stamp was 1 inch by 3 inches. So I'm going to cut that for my first piece, and then I'm going to layer that onto another piece of the patterned paper. So I'm going to add this on here, and then I will use some of my black Gina K amalgam ink. Obsidian is the color on this. And then I'm going to move that magnet out of the way so I can get a good impression on there. But these stamps stamp pretty well. I'm pleased with them, and I will definitely use them again. So that's nice to have a fun little rainbow in my collection, as well as a few fun sentiments. All right, I added it to that pattern piece of paper, and now I can put this together. But before I do that, I wanted to show you, you could do a lot of different things to these clouds. You could do nothing to these clouds. I like to add a little bit of a light gray ink around. It just kind of makes the cloud pop off the page a little bit. You could add some glitter glue on there in a color, or like blue or something, or a diamond color, anything you wanted to kind of make them stand out. But I am going to pop this up first with a few pieces of foam, and then I'll come back and add the rest of the elements. But I definitely want to pop that up kind of at the bottom where that twine is. And then I'm going to add a little bit of foam to the top of my sunshine so I can fit it underneath the rainbow. And I'm just laying out exactly where I want things to go. And then I can come back with more foam pieces. I'm going to put the foam on the bottom there so I don't, it's not crooked or standing up off of the rainbow, because the rainbow has already been popped up. And then also that twine will not be in the way. Okay, so I'm going to layer those together. And then I will add a little bit more of some foam pieces behind there. And again, I'm just doing the top and the bottom so that that twine can just kind of flow and sit in between those foam pieces, nice and flat. I'm going to put this, tuck that behind the sunshine just a tiny bit. Sending you sunshine and rainbows. But then I'm just going to come in here with some liquid glue and add a trio of hearts. You can see they have the little raindrops and some stars as well that I'm going to use on some later cards. There's also some little cutout words as well. Okay, so I'm going to turn on some music and we'll get started, and then I'll be back to show you all of the 14 cards at one time. Okay, so welcome back. Thanks for staying with me. Here is a quick look again at the 14 cards that I created. I had a lot of fun with the set. It was a great way to spend an afternoon and putting this together. They made everything pretty simple to use, and including the card bases was great. So I have linked the company that these came from if you're interested in learning more about them. And again, this is the first time I've gotten a card kit from them, and I really enjoyed it as a part of that HSN Autoship program. So I love that it's all about rainbows, but then they had some other pieces as well that you can create other cards. And since you get the stamps of rainbows, you could make lots of cards with them. So I'm looking forward to using it in that way as well. I hope you got a little bit of creative inspiration. Maybe you have a rainbow stamp set at your house, and some of these cards would inspire you to pull it out. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. It helps me grow my little channel and helps me reach other people who enjoy crafting as well. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.